welcome to yet another episode of FPL Escapades, where we preview the last game week of the season, game week 38 plus. This has been a very uneventful season for me personally, being a United fan. Liverpool lifting the trophy on a 5-3 win last week against Chelsea, and a lot went down as well. Hi, I'm Kshitij, and I'm joined by three of my really close friends, Anand, Akshay, and Amit. Boys, how's it going? How was Game Week 37 plus, and how has your season been so far? And what do you look forward to in the coming game week, Anand?
So I played my triple captain on Martial. That didn't work as per the plans. Also, Bruno gave a blank, like really not expected that from him. And Rashford also got a yellow card. So apart from the United players, I guess it was a mixed game week. Got 68 points, but then again, triple captain just getting 15 points was a disappointment for sure. And I'm just recovering from a snake bite.
Yeah, yeah. Sounds about right. And a lot of red arrows, I feel, for you last game week, was it?
I mean, 68 point, I was above average, but then basically I was aiming a little bit high, and Marshall just didn't work as per plan. And I guess honestly speaking, the United assets, they got me so far. I remember before the lockdown I was 10th in my mini league, and now I am fourth in my mini league. So that was because I really went differentials at every position, did not keep Salah and all, because I knew if I have to catch up, I have to bring other players. So they got me till here. So yeah, no complaints overall, because you can't expect them to perform all the match weeks. But I personally feel that United are out of gas, as pointed out by Ronaldinho as well. Neil Murray, he said as well that United look out of gas, and you know we started really well. United played really good football for the first 45 minutes, but then after 45 minutes it was just out of gas, and players look tired yet again for the third consecutive game week. So I mean, let's see what happens in the last game week. I still have pre-hit, so just buckle up and let's move on.
Yeah, that's really nice, man. Free hit is a great chip to have right now, definitely going into the last game week as well. But 68 points, 2,196 overall points, definitely a great season. I think it might be one of your best. But yeah, anyway, Amit, welcome to the show, dude. First time here, second time here. First was some technical glitches, but definitely for our listeners and audience, we were not able to put out the first episode where Amit was a part. But now definitely welcome back. And how has it been going, man? I see that you also face some tiny red arrows in a mini league as well. So pumped for the game week 38 as well.
Yeah, definitely. First of all, thank you for inviting me back. And about the game week, Sterling keeps tormenting me still. I mean, I keep going with De Bruyne. De Bruyne gave me an assist, but still, man, Sterling has taken it upon himself to screw me over times and again. But I still have my triple captain left. I guess I should have gone with the copy paste, you know, theory. That might have worked for me better. But yes, I mean, I captained Bruno this week, and out of all the players, he was the only player who gave me one single point. Any other player in my team would have got me at least 4 points. I had Jesus in my team. Apart from Jesus, everyone in my team performed. I got 70 points, and I had like Greenwood. The boy scored yet another spectacular goal. The lad is special. No two ways about it. I had Ingsy. He missed a penalty. It didn't matter because I'm mostly going for the mini league in my group. Apart from that, because world ranking is not going to matter to me. That doesn't matter to me any much. Because I guess I will finish below 50,000 this year. Because I still have my triple captain left. With any luck, I'm hoping for a MSD type finish. And MSD, for our foreign viewers, is probably one of the greatest finishers this game of cricket has ever seen. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely, and a great analogy as well. But definitely, you're sitting here at just above 50k, and also I just saw that Pulisic was on your bench, so that got a hurt too.
See,
But
Pulisic did not hurt me as much because if I had to get in Pulisic, then I was considering leaving De Bruyne out. So De Bruyne gave me 6 points, and Pulisic, had I played Pulisic and he wouldn't have started, then that would have definitely given me a heart attack. So it was more of a stable solution what I went for, and it kind of worked out. You cannot complain much because another day De Bruyne might have scored. So yeah.
yeah, definitely. And I did play Pulisic in my team, and I did suffer a heart attack when he did not start. But thankfully, he came off the bench and gave an assist and scored a goal. So all in all, for me also, it was a really balanced week. I finally paid my bench boost, got 80. I had Stephens and Greenwood on my bench, who coincidentally gave me a lot of points. So that worked out. So now, Akshay, I mean, 70, 80 points lead, still on top of all the mini leagues. OR under 1K, I suppose. How are you planning to end the season, dude?
Yes, absolutely buzzing. Finally nailed the triple digit rank first time in my FPL career. So really happy for that. And currently on 869. So I hope I do not drop in the final game week because I also have a free hit. And I think I'll stay inside the top 1K unless I make a huge blunder. So he spoke about Sterling and KDB. I think that's really unlucky on KDB owners because if you look at the City match again, Sterling was the one who earned the penalty, and everyone was expecting KDB to take the ball and slot it into the net. But Sterling decided to take it upon himself, as Amit said, and he missed. He scored the rebound. So it was a bittersweet feeling as a Sterling owner, but then I think KDB owners must be even more gutted because he like only one assist in a 5-0 win is very bad. Or was it 4-0? Yeah, 4-0. So the last game is Norwich again, and he's eyeing for a assist record. He's one behind Thierry Henry right now, and people are expecting him to start because the Champions League game is a week away, and Pep might want to keep his players fresh for that. So let's see. I think City triple up is key going into free hit game week 38 because those are the players who will give you maximum number of points. Maybe the big hauls like 15, 20 points.
Yeah, definitely. And again, Norwich being a team that we have been targeting after since the restart. So definitely, really, City uh, triple up. Look, I think I also have it on the cards. I'm just trying to figure out a way to get in Sterling and KDB. But since like the news just broke out, Sterling is taking his time off in Saint Tropez in France, so you really don't know what the Pep is about to do. Maybe he starts, maybe he doesn't. But yeah, that is 2 days away, and definitely after Project Restart, games have been coming at us quick and fast, and I am sort of ready for a break again because it's been a lot of hair pulling all of a sudden, wherein a lot of matches in back-to-back game weeks as well. So with that, we move to our next segment of the show where we look at essentials, differentials, and cheapies for each and every position from forward, midfielder, defense, and then through goalkeepers for one final time this season for game week 38 plus. And yeah, I mean, right off the bat, I have to eat my words. And Danny Ings, dude, since Project Restart, I called him out for his form to drop, and I really did not, even after he started performing, I did not think of getting him in, but he's like really made me eat my words. Though he did miss a penalty, but still, I think he's scored in like back-to-back games. And now, for me personally, I'm thinking of banking on him. I already have Greenwood. I'm also considering either Wood because Burnley play Brighton, and that, for according to me, is a relatively easier fixture. But yeah, Danny Ings, man, hats off to him. Definitely 21 goals, almost golden boot in sight, and playing for a team like Southampton, too. Like, I mean, it's crazy where you're competing with the likes of Vardy, Salah, and Mane. We're definitely out of the blue. So yeah, I think for me, an essential pick would be Ings, and maybe if you want to look for a differential, Chris Wood might be great. But personally, I have had Mason Greenwood since Project Restart, and he's been delivering good goals as well. And as Akshay, you said, that definitely a wonder boy. Anand, you said it, it's like definitely, and I completely agree with it. Anand, you feel any? What are your picks for forwards, man?
Say, honestly speaking, I personally favor Jesus but then it's not clear whether he will start or not. So you have to keep a backup in mind. And I think backup would be probably Auba, because Aubameyang will be facing Watford, and Watford, we know, are managerless, and they are really they're lacking in options everywhere. And Auba is also in contention for the Golden Boot since Vardy is playing United. I think all the players who are just maybe two or three shy of Vardy's tally of 23 goals would probably think that if we are able to score a couple of goals or say a hat trick, we would probably end up winning the Golden Boot. Maybe level with Vardy, but yeah, maybe end up winning. So Oba is personally a player that I'll be eyeing up this week. Apart from Oba, I think Lacazette is as well a good pick because Laka is known to create a lot of chances. His hold-up play is good, so he would probably bring in the likes of Oba and Nketiah into the gameplay. But again, then between Laka and Nketiah, it's not so certain who's going to start. So I think I'll probably pick Oba as an essential pick for this game week.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good, definitely. And Arsenal do have, comparatively lighter fixtures compared to teams like Chelsea and United. City, on the other hand, is again a team where you can consider Jesus, but definitely Pep Role has come to haunt us a big time, at least for me. Amit, what are your picks going forward in Game Week 38 plus? Any of these forwards that you think, or any other forward that comes to your mind?
So I have basically stacked up on the midfield. So I was not able to afford someone like an Aubameyang. So instead of Aubameyang, I have gone for Jesus and Greenwood. I'm probably going to play two forwards. I'm not going to play all the three. I do have Inks in my team. But personally, if you ask me, I do think Aubameyang is an essential. I'm only hoping that he just scores one goal. He's just restricted to one goal. And especially Arsenal are going against Watford. They have a history there with the Deeney coming out after the match when they beat Arsenal. So probably in a way Arsenal could be extra pumped up for this. So Aubameyang is not a bad choice. But the only thing is when the team is fighting for relegation, we have often seen wonders happen. If you remember the Wigan team under Martinez, if I'm not wrong, and then you had the Sunderland producing performances which were not expected of them. So when they have the last gasp of breath left in them, you never know what they might pull off. So I have personally gone with Jesus and Greenwood, and related to, I've seen a lot of people picking Wood, but I personally am not very inclined towards this, mainly because I think the Brighton defense is very nice. I mean, I think they have Dunk is fit for this match, right? So if Dunk starts, that does not give Wood an aerial advantage, which he mainly thrives on. So, and like we saw with the Brighton game, they would like to press the teams. Even against City, that was their downfall because they went to play football and City completely murdered them. So I don't know. Maybe Rodriguez is a better choice than Wood, but apart from that, even Callum Wilson, I ever since he come back from his injury, he has been very good. Against the City match, he looked lively, although he was unlucky not to score. For me, I'll go with Jesus, Greenwood, and probably someone like Aubameyang if you are gonna triple up on your forwards. That would be my ideal choice.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense, definitely. But none of us have been talking about Kane. Like there was a
Yes,
reporter
yes.
who said
Yes,
like
Kane.
he's
Kane
never.
is a Kane is a very interesting pick for this week. But the thing about if you look at the Tottenham gameplay, it's not like they have been creating lots of chances. They might have beat Leicester 3-0, but in that game, Leicester made around 26 attempts or 24 attempts, which was the highest in their season. And their previous highest was when they put 9 past Southampton. So they were just mainly playing on the counter against at least Leicester, and because Leicester had Morgan and Bennett in their defense, so their defense did not really have much pace in it. that is one of the reason I would prefer to go with Greenwood this week. Even if you can play someone like a heavyweight, say Lacazette, I would prefer if you played Greenwood, because the Leicester defense doesn't really have any pace in them. I am not very sure about the young fullbacks coming into this big kind of a situation, because they might just get caught out of position. It only takes 1 second for Greenwood to shoot and score, right? So that
Yeah.
is one of the my theories behind
Yeah,
it.
definitely. But Akshay, I mean, but still Spurs do face Crystal Palace, though away. But does that make a Kane an interesting pick for you, or do you agree with Amit and Anand of going with either a heavyweight like Aubameyang instead of Kane, or say Greenwood instead of Kane?
I think I personally like the fact that he mentioned about Kane facing Leicester, because Leicester was all open behind the back, and Lucas Moura played in simple through balls, which Kane met at the end, and he buried them. So it was not like Spurs were dominating that game. It was a typical Mourinho counter-attacking side and taking their chances very well. So do you really see that happening against Palace, who sit back no matter how bad their defense is, but they will definitely sit back, and I do not personally see Spurs creating a lot of chances. So if you are interested in getting Spurs assets, I'd personally recommend Serge Aurier, because he's one who is going to bomb up forward, and in the absence of Patrick Van Aanholt, they have a young defender in Mitchell who was caught out in the last game as well. So I think Aurier could get benefits from that. And coming to Wood and Rodriguez, I really like the point about Dunk returning for Brighton. So Wood is a player who really thrives on aerial balls, and he's either heading them, or, as we saw, the bicycle in the last game as well. So
Yeah.
I don't think he'll be lucky to get so many chances if Dunk is playing. So Jay Rodriguez could be a lovely choice. And coming to Nketiah and Lacazette, I think Aubameyang's minutes could be managed, because Arsenal played the FA Cup final, and that is the most important game for them this season, because they cannot finish anywhere higher than seventh in the league. And if they win the FA Cup, they have a spot for Europa. So that is their only chance, and perhaps the most important game for Arteta this season. So Aubameyang's minutes could be managed. That is something you can see, and hence Kane over Aubameyang is the biggest doubt right now. So I would personally be more inclined towards Kane, because he is guaranteed 90 minutes, and Spurs need a win right now if they want to guarantee that seventh place, because Wolves can also take that spot if they beat Chelsea. So if when the spot is up for line, I think Spurs are going for the game, and they might get some goals through Kane. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
just wanted to add on Kane. So despite Kane getting less chances, what I really like about Kane since the last two game week is his finishing. I mean, we cannot deny the fact that he has finished two really great goals. One was like a curler, and another was finished from his left foot. So Kane's efficiency in front of goal is probably one of the best in the league. So, even if he gets one chance, expect him to bury that chance
Yeah.
against Crystal Palace, like you guys mentioned again about Mitchell playing as a left back and Aurier going to enjoy that flank. But it really depends on Mourinho's mindset. Also, because Crystal Palace are playing at home. So, will Mourinho again sit deep against a team who likes to sit deep as well? So, and both teams are from London. So yeah, I mean there will be a lot of there will be a lot of things at stake. But then with Kane, he needs just one chance and he will bury it if he gets that chance. Yeah.
Because I said Kane might not score, he's gonna score a hat trick this weekend.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so you're like reverse jinxing Kane, right?
No, no. But in all honesty, Kane has always been a brilliant finisher. He might not have the technical skills of an Aguero or someone who is more trickier with his feet, but he's a brilliant, finisher that you cannot take away from him. And
Yeah.
if he gets, it takes Sterling 5 chances to score. I'm just kidding, but yes, I mean the kind of chances Sterling got this season, Kane would have finished with say 40 goals this season.
Yeah, definitely. Kane definitely is one of the good finishers in the league as well. So yeah, with that we wrap up the forward lineup, and then now we move on to midfielders where we do have like really interesting picks as well. The essentials definitely have, I think, remained unchanged throughout the season almost, and definitely after Project Restart as well. Um, Salah, KDB, Sterling. I mean, like I think enough has already been said about them. KDB, I've had him through and through the entire season, but definitely Sterling is someone who's like punished me for not having him in the last two game weeks. Uh, had this news not been in the public that he's partying out in France, I would have definitely not thought twice of getting him in my team, because he's definitely up there, right, for you know take challenging for the Golden Boot, and I mean, he was just unlucky to not score a hat trick last game week. But Norwich is definitely a team where if Pep plays him, or he should definitely play him, he'll be fresher. He'll be, right out of his short vacation and definitely raring to go. So definitely for me, like instead of I do have Phil Foden right now, so I'm thinking of taking a -4 and maybe free up funds for to get in Sterling. Definitely Salah, I've got rid of him, and like Liverpool since already won the league, so it might be, and also booze and parties and everything. So we know what happened after they were elected as champions that the next game week. So I'm not really confident on Salah, but again he's also on a mission to get that third golden boot. But yeah, for me, like Sterling, KDB are the way to go, and of course Saka definitely for me has been a loyal bench merchant, sadly, but yeah, definitely given me a lot of points as well. Akshay, what are your takes? Antonio, Stanislas, somebody from those guys?
Yeah, you spoke about Stanislas. I think he could be a really good pick going into game week 38 because Bournemouth have everything to play for, and Stanislas is on set pieces as well, and he could get a free kick goal because Pickford is bad, as we all know, and Everton conceded a lot of chances. So Stanislas could be a really good pick, and Saka has been an amazing filler. Like he could be another filler this game week because people are going for free hit mostly this week, and when you are going for a free hit you would rather make your 11 players strong, but I would rather suggest keep an option on the bench because you never know what might happen on the last day. We have seen via team news, and Sterling he's currently enjoying on the beach, so I personally hope he comes back because I have my captaincy armband on him for 38 plus, and not having Sterling I think is a big risk going into 38 plus because he's currently firing, and you might not be even surprised if he gets the penalties again, and so that is something Pep Guardiola must have really decided because I don't see players deciding that on the pitch. So Sterling is essential definitely. And coming to Salah, I think Mane and Salah is a debate going into 38, but you just don't know. Like even if the two of them are non-drinkers, the ones who are supplying Trent and Robertson, those guys are drinkers. So the last time it was because of them that these two suffered, and they were not getting a lot of chances. So no matter how bad Newcastle might be depleted in defense, so as Steve Bruce also mentioned on the press conference today, that he does not have any of his defenders fit. It's only one of them, I think, out of six centre backs. So that's really bad on them. But you have seen Salah in the last few games. He's been getting a lot of big chances and he's been missing them a lot. He's been frustrated. So I don't know. I don't know why, but I feel one of Salah and Mane could be dropped this week.
Oh, that's a bold comment, definitely. Amit, coming to you, any I definitely essentials are right there, almost written in stone. Any differential or cheapy or any fourth or fifth midfielder that you would want to talk about that has caught your eye, or you yourself are planning to get in for the free hit?
First of all, if Sterling doesn't start, I'm screwed because ever since I started playing FPL, so I adopted this strategy of doing the transfers early so that the price rise doesn't affect me. So straight after the game week 37, I got in Sterling, for, and I because I had to accommodate him in my team, I had to take a -4. Now, if Sterling doesn't start, you can imagine my situation.
Yeah,
But yeah, in a way, I did. I mean, you guys were telling me not to get in Foden. So if Sterling doesn't start, that in a way means that Foden does. Someone will start on the left flank. And when Sterling went off in the Watford game, Foden was mainly playing from the left. I noticed that. And another reason I got in Foden for this week also is because KDB has been playing back to back 90 minutes. So there is a high chance that even if he starts, he only plays the 45 minutes time mark. After that, then Foden will come back. So my theory is, if you want to back a player, first look at the team. So they are playing Norwich. So would you back Foden or Stanislas against someone like an Everton team? So agree. Bournemouth are playing Everton, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So even if Stanislas scores one goal, he rarely is going to score a brace or do something more. But with Foden, and because of mainly the Norwich factor and the way they were giving out red cards, and there was a time we were considering that this game might be disqualified if this keeps on going this way. So I still am gonna go with Foden. I'm just gonna keep Foden and benching. It's gonna be a gamble situation for me. And another player I think should be in the essential is Tony Marshall. If you look at the Leicester defense, that defense can be get at. If United, even in terms of a 60 minutes, you're gonna score four past them, I have no doubts about this, because if you don't score against a 37-year-old who should be retired by now, Wes Morgan, I mean, physically United, physically heading and aerially, this not has been our game for this entire season. They have struggled aerially, but with the ball in our feet, we should murder them. I am really hoping we do. I know this might come back to haunt me, but I am really gonna back Marshall. If Sterling might not start, if Sterling doesn't start and the report gets out, I might even triple captain Marshall. That's how much faith I have in this guy. And apart from that, coming to the Mane Salah debate, I mean, Salah has been getting a lot of chances, but if you get presented with opportunities time and again, you eventually are going to score, aren't you? And against Newcastle, I saw Watford when they went against Newcastle, especially in the second half, they just ripped them open. And I think Newcastle is already on the beach, imagining the after season basically. So Salah could be a good pick also. Mane, it's either with Salah or Mane. It depends completely on your luck basically. It's very hard to choose between them. And Trezeguet is an interesting pick because despite Grealish hogging all the attention, it's been Trezeguet who has been really. I mean, Grealish has been good in these matches. I mean, he has showed up, but I think it was Trezeguet who is proving out to be the main man for Villa. So I wouldn't go past Trezeguet if you're going for a cheapie.
Yeah, definitely good points. Definitely good points. I personally feel that KDB might be given more than 45, 60 minutes, so that he can equal his assist record definitely, and
But he
so
might
can
just do
Sterling.
that in 30 minutes. That's my
Oh,
point.
definitely. That, I was just coming there,
I
but he is
mean,
very well capable of doing that in 30 and definitely then getting subbed off, and so that Pep saves his legs for the Champions League.
I don't know. I just have a gut feeling that against the right back Max Aaron and the left back, they have potentially good left back and right back, and so if I they can even keep Sterling fairly quiet for this match.
So, Anand, a lot has been spoken about a lot of midfielders. Who do you back, or do you agree with any of the opinions that have been pointed out, or do you have some other differential or cheapy picks that have not been mentioned here?
So apart from the midfielders, there's one question that's really getting into my mind. After listening to everything that we've spoken so far, one is the one one thing that we're always talking about is the individual award, be it the Golden Boot or the assist record. I mean, since when individual records have become so important, that is something that was going in my mind because if Golden Boot was the thing, why would Pep remove Sterling when he had already scored two and he could have easily got say another one or two in that same game and could have reduced his deficit to one or two goal against Vardy. Having said that, let's see what happens. Again, Sterling has a huge chance to break that record, break the tally of Vardy. But apart from that, I think regarding United, you know, in the last three games, what I've noticed is United look really tired. And honestly speaking, if you are expecting to count on United, then yeah, do expect that the first 45 minutes will be exciting, just like the way it was against West Ham. United will go all in, all out. But if United scores in the first 45 minutes, maybe expect an open game and expect United to score more. But if it doesn't happen in the first 45 or say in the first 50, 60 minutes, then it could be just how it was against Chelsea or how it was against Southampton. It could be a struggle for United. It's really, I'm really hurt to say this because, I have Bruno, Martial, and Rashford in my team, and that's the sad reality about United right now because they just look they don't look out of sorts in terms of quality. They're just really tired at the moment. So, but then Bruno is still topping the charts of highest points per match in the fantasy Premier League world. His goal creation per 90 minutes is is third to KDB and Mahrez. Talking about Mahrez and David Silva, I mean, we just couldn't speak about them. So Mahrez is a phenomenal player when it comes to stats, at least. Even eye test, we know how good Mahrez is. But in terms of stats, his goal creation action per 90 minutes is amazing, is the best in the league. He has a really good goal and assist per 90 minutes ratio as well. And he was brought from the bench in the last match, so this could be his match. I always had Mahrez in my team post game week 30, post the lockdown, but I had to remove him because I understood one thing, and that was you cannot have three City players, because of Pep Rule. You know, so that was the thing because of what I had to remove Mahrez. But then David Silva, I think, the world would want him to score. This is his last match. The world would want to see him score because of the player he has been. Honestly speaking, a little unlucky because he has not got a lot of chances for the Spanish national team. But when he was at his prime, or say maybe in his late 20s, he had competition from Xavi and Iniesta. So you can feel for him. But then such is the guy, David Silva, and then another player of his mold is Santi Cazorla. We all love these two magicians. Cazorla just got his farewell at Villarreal, and I just hope that Silva gets a great farewell in this match. And this season, whenever Silva has played, he's given a 10-point haul. So I expect him to do something again. And I think one special player, in fact, two special players will be going against each other. The last time when these two teams faced each other, the score was 5-2 in favor of Chelsea. And now these two special players will be playing against each other for the first time. They did not feature in the last match. It will be Pulisic versus Podence. So Podence from Wolves is a guy to look at for the next season. And he looked so sharp in the last two matches. He's been looking amazing. And we all know what Pulisic did. Like Amit Sarkar, like Akshay Agarwal, even I had Pulisic on my bench. So I was just counting the number of points I dropped on the bench since the lockdown. So I have dropped around 45 points on my bench since the lockdown. So I still feel that it's better to have a good bench because I remember one game week, De Bruyne didn't play it, and Jimenez just came in straight up for him, and Jimenez scored on my bench. So Jimenez gave me 9 points. So it's always good to have players on the bench. So Podence versus Pulisic will be an interesting watch. Not in terms of individual things, but from both teams, these two guys will be looking to probably score at least a goal or two.
If I may add just one point, I just have this sneaky feeling that if after 80th minute City gets a penalty, then David Silva might be the one to take it. This is sort of a farewell. Maybe it's just the Indian way.
I just hope he's not taken off at 21 minutes like they did with John Terry.
Oh no! That was wholly John Terry himself. He probably even retired the shirt.
Talking about shirt retirements, Birmingham have just retired that number 22 jersey for a legend who scored 4 goals for them, Jude Bellingham. So
31 games, it's all it takes to become a legend, I guess.
Definitely. I hope that Leicester versus United do definitely score, Anand. Coming back to your points about Martial, Bruno, and the entire United team being tired, because I really want to see us back in the Champions League. And after the season that we've had, I really hope that we score. I don't care if it's in the 45th minute, the 50th, or say 90 in Fergie time or whatever. But definitely looking forward to Leicester versus United and hoping that we win that. With that, we move to defenders, and there really some really cool, interesting picks in for differentials and cheapies. Or here, an essential Trent. Okay, I did get rid of him for Tarkovsky. Apart from that, I am really happy with the present uh, defense that I have right now. I will still play Van Dijk and most likely will stick to Boli as well. But yeah, definitely I don't really want to take -8 or -4. And since I don't have free hit, I want to focus my transfers on midfield and forwards, because the last day, generally tends to be somewhat of a high scoring game week. So definitely looking forward to that. But yeah, I would suggest going ahead with a Burnley defender. I went with Tarkovsky, but Peters, yeah. The luckiest assist of his life, most likely giving him 12 points. That really hurt me a lot. Amit, you happy with, like, since you told us that you're going really heavy on the midfield, I'm sure that, and since you're using a triple captain, are you happy with your current defense line, or is there someone that you're looking for, say, for any other transfers? But since you've already taken a -4, that would be a real
I
stab in your
already
heart.
shot myself in the foot.
Yeah, definitely. So are you going to stick with your defense? And if so, like, who do you bank on out of these 5 defenders that you have?
I mean, I have my defense to be, I hope I do not jinx it by saying it, has been pretty solid for me. I already have Trent, so I think the Liverpool aspect is covered in this. Even if Liverpool do consider Trent is always having this attacking threat. Instead of Tarkowski, I have gone for Peters because he was playing upfront, a little more upfront than a left back, and since Taylor has been ruled out, he's been playing. So I'll just keep faith in Peters because against Brighton, you could expect those, because both teams have nothing to play for. You can expect one of this dull nil. At the end of the day, this FPL has been a gamble for me. So I've just gone with Pope and Peters in my defense and hoping that it pays off. The other defender is Trent. And the one I'm really confused about is I do have Boli in my team and I also have Baldock. It's really a dilemma. It's one of those things. I'll just take it last minute. Last
But yeah,
minute.
definitely, if you're planning to keep Ings on bench, so it doesn't really matter. You can hope for
No,
Ings
I mean,
also.
if I do that, then I have to pray that Ings doesn't score, because if Ings does score and on top of that, I lose the clean sheet.
Kind of a double whammy there.
Yeah.
What are your picks for the defenders? I'm sure like you have a free hit chip, if I'm not wrong. And do you plan on targeting any of these which are on the screen?
Yeah, it's gonna triple up on Arsenal.
Honestly speaking, the players mentioned on this list are kind of usual suspects for this game week. Say the Liverpool assets against Newcastle or the Burnley assets against Brighton. So I have to go different if I'm planning to uh, just rise a little bit more in my mini leagues, or say if I have to go a little bit different, I might take a look at a guy called Sidibe. So Sidibe started the last match, and against Bournemouth, I think it's going to be an end-to-end game. uh, Bournemouth has a lot of at stake, so they are going to attack, and Everton might come forward. And Sidibe, we know that he has those attacking prowess in him, just like Aurier has. So I might look over there. But yeah, all good options. If I go crazy, I may even just go for Peters, Bardsley, and Nick Pope. But
And
there is a
Peter
little bit
and
risk.
Barnsley gets a red then.
See, there is a little bit of risk in going three defense on Burnley, because Brighton do have some attacking players like Trossard or say
Okay.
Mope. So even this 4.2
Connolly.
striker Connolly, even he's a menace. When he gets running. Uh, so we all have to remember this thing that Burnley are without Ben Mee, and Long has done an incredible job in his absence. But then it is a little bit of risk to go triple up. I already have Pope, so I might look elsewhere and strengthen my defense. So instead of Ta, I might look for Robertson, because Robertson, a lot of people may not have him. So I might look over there. Or here again, like you guys already mentioned about Mitchell. Uh, Likewise, I think Akshay is on a free hit as well, but he's rolling high. He's one of our very own. And I would really love to hear from Akshay on this. I mean, honestly speaking, Kshitij and Amit, I personally feel I'm going to go absolutely berserk this game week. When you open my team, you will see differentials, at every position. So,
I'm expecting you to captain Puke this weekend.
No. I am, I am inclined towards King or Wilson instead of Cookie, because I really like Wilson.
Old habits die hard, as they say. If you want your captain to succeed, be sure to check it with Akshay, because whatever he touches, man, I kept saying it the last podcast, and I'll repeat it again. I don't know how he manages it. If you look at his team last weekend, it was like everybody scored, and he just like that, he scored a 80-pointer. I mean, without any minimum of effort, his captain even flopped, still he got 80 points. I don't know, man. I got to be taking share market advice from him, this guy.
No, absolutely. Burnley defenders are actually the usual suspects going into 38 plus, because Chris Wood has come out publicly and he has said that they're going all guns blazing for Nick Pope's clean sheet record. And this is not just a player record, this is something for the team as well, because clean sheets are something Burnley are famous for under Sean Dyche. So they would be really happy if Nick Pope gets that golden glove, because personally I think he deserves to be England number one over Jordan Pickford. Coming to the other defenders, right now I do own Trent. Massively happy he got the goal. Although I do feel it wasn't a foul by Kovacic, and what sparked on the touchline later between Lampard and Klopp is hitting the news right now. So really good to see Lampard fired up there. And I have Trent right now, and I do plan to stick with him now, because he has a double-digit haul in him any day, and Newcastle are not so good defensively. So if he does start, Trent is someone who's I'm keen on holding on, and I already have Pope right now, and I'm planning to get in Peters, who I already have, because I got him in my free hit early to avoid the price rises. And not really sure if I'm going for another Burnley defender, because that will be too many eggs in one basket scenario. And I am currently looking at someone like Aurier, because as I spoke about earlier, Crystal Palace are going to league goals and he'll be enjoying that freedom on the right. So Aurier is someone I'm looking at. And again, shout out to Serge Aurier. After all the things that have happened in his personal life, he's come out and shown massive commitment for the Spurs team. So shout out for him. And for the defenders, I don't think we are going to make too many differential picks right now, because this is a last game week and you do not want to go berserk, unlike what Anand plans. So I'm planning to stick with Pope, one Burnley defender, Trent, and Aurier perhaps.
Yeah, definitely. Anand, I hope you got all of your answers from Akshay regarding the defense lineup. Please don't go berserk and lose
No,
out.
I think Akshay, whatever Akshay said was for regarding his team, and I think deep inside he knows that if I have a chance, I have to go berserk, because Akshay is leading all the mini leagues, so
I can peacefully watch all the games in Game Week 38 plus. Yeah.
like what Akshay said, Kshitij, like Trent has an ownership of 39.1%. Just imagine 40% owners will get more points than him, and he could lose his overall rank. So Akshay is playing for the overall, but while myself, I am looking to uh,
Recover
from
from a
fourth. Yeah. So regarding myself, I have to, what's the fun? What's the fun? In not even trying. So I have to try to, from fourth. You always like the podium finish. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where do you finish. It matters if you try. So I'm gonna try, and let's see what happens.
100%, man. I've never seen anyone as optimistic as you.
Inspiration post.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, and like I hope like this really clears up a lot of defenders for us. And now, like moving on to goalkeepers, a lot has already been spoken about the games that
There
are
is not a
coming.
debate in goalkeeper section. It has to be Pope. Just end
It
this
has
thing.
to be Pope. It definitely has to
Yeah,
be
yeah.
Pope.
Okay,
Like
bye.
a lot.
Good night, boys. Take care.
Anyone who's looking for advice, I feel like Anand said it's okay, bye. It's just Pope, and then you're done with it. So yeah, guys, for a really frankly, do you really want to speak about any other goalkeeper, or should we just move on to our free hit team that our suggested free hit team going into game week 38 plus?
No, I mean, if you have extra money, then you could always go for a guaranteed goalkeeper, say Allison, because I mean, this week hardly anyone is gonna, you are not gonna play Mane and Salah both, right? And you won't be stupid enough to start Firmino. So, so yeah, so you that leaves you with one player apart from either you can double up on the defense or you can get Allison. But at 6.2, it's not really much of a choice. Martinez has been really good ever since he looked. I mean, even I think Arteta is gonna have a choice between him and Leno. It would be interesting to see what he can do next season because Martinez has really been the kingpin of that defense. And if Martinez was not at the goal, I am pretty sure Arsenal, the mood around Arsenal changed because of his performance. Because let's be honest, Arsenal are still shit despite spending around 150 million this summer. And Martinez kept helped them with this mood and everything, because defensively, uh, Dini has had a good record against them, and I do feel that one of the Watford player might score in this match. That is why I have this side bet with Anand that I can see Dini scoring, and he clearly doesn't. So yeah, I guess if you go by the numbers, Pope should be your choice.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, Akshay, Anand, Pope, Team Pope, anything else? I mean, like, I just feel that there's like really not necessary talking about anything. Again, like you said, Chris Wood coming out to the press and saying that they'll work together as a team for him to get the Golden Glove and his clean sheet record. I think that's like kind of enough said already, don't you think?
Yeah, I think if you already have Nick Pope, I don't see a reason for you to look elsewhere. But at that price, 5.1 on a free hit team, you might be short of funds for your keeper. So that is where you might want to look at someone like Martinez or someone like a Ramsdale, because as I spoke about, Bournemouth are playing for something. So Ramsdale, he was really amazing in the last game, and he'll be really motivated. And Nick Pope, I don't think I need to say anything about him because his Burnley defense has been really solid. And apart from the clean sheets, he's also been giving you a lot of save points. So when what happens with FPL is when keepers keep a clean sheet and they also get the save points, they are generally on top of the bonus points as well. So if you have a look at Nick Pope's history, whenever Burnley have managed a clean sheet, more often he gets the bonus or the maximum bonus. So that is something you might want to keep an eye on, because you might get a guaranteed clean sheet from Ederson or Allison maybe, but from a keeper giving you 3 bonus and maybe a point for a save, that will make it a double digit haul, a 10 pointer. So that is where Nick Pope stands out in front of the other keepers.
So yeah, Anand, not about the keepers anymore. We're just gonna for our listeners and viewers, we're just gonna show them our basically the free hit team, the suggestions for the free hit team here. But Anand, not gonna talk about the free hit team because again, to each is his own. But the last game week of the season, the most important question as ever: who's gonna be a captain?
I think I'm gonna leave it on Winter to decide that. And
Yeah, shout out to Winter.
and a tribute to Gianni Buttice as well. I think that's gonna happen again. I see. Again, it depends on what is the team that you have. Uh, I personally believe that this particular game week, be ready with your notebooks. Make sure this is an advice from our college senior Anustup. He is an FPL legend. What he's told me is like make sure you have two free hit teams ready. and in both the free hit teams have at least two players as an alternative for each position. The moment the team news are out, your options are already there on your either on your notebook or on your Excel sheet. So guys, make sure you do that extra bit this time. Make sure your alternatives are already there, your bank value is already there, so that the moment you see a player is not playing, you go with that. Now, talking about a captain pick, I think, honestly speaking, if Jesus starts, I'm gonna captain Jesus. Uh, Likewise, say if Sterling starts, I'm gonna captain Sterling. So this is how this is the margin that I'm drawing. Apart from that, say if neither starts, where do you go? So anything is possible. We have to be very very sure about this game week, because all matches are happening at the same time. Okay, so just be ready, guys, with it, with your options. Make sure you calculate the team value as well. I think I'm gonna go with a United player, and I'm gonna go with the Portuguese Magnifico or Tony Martial. So let's see. I mean, City,
I,
in that order, City will
I
be my
mean,
favorite captain.
personally, that's a lot to go on and hoping on that the team news actually do come out like 15, 20 minutes before. But if they don't, I mean, like, I think for me personally, I would be definitely going ahead with a City pick, most likely Sterling. Amit, what triple captain? I mean, nerves really running on the edge, and definitely a lot of nail biting as well, I suppose. Who's gonna be your captain for the, or basically maybe we never know if the team news might come out or it might not. But right on the top of your head right now, who do you want to captain or make your triple captain?
So I wasn't aware of this Sterling France news. So before that, I was, very calm that I'm gonna triple captain Sterling. Now all of a sudden, you have put my entire world in jeopardy, and I don't know what to do now. But still, I think Sterling is gonna be a good pick. I don't have the luxury of Kane or Aubameyang. I mean, Greenwood, if I'm really feeling edgy, then maybe even Greenwood. But it has to be a City choice for me.
Oh, yeah, makes sense. And Akshay, who do you look to captain to try and maintain your three-digit overall rank?
Stick with Sterling because that is the word around the FPL community, and I think the maximum managers in the top 1,000 are going with Sterling as well. So if he does end up failing, I do not lose a lot of points with him, and so that is what I plan to do right now. And really good point about not relying too much on team news, because that is what people are talking about. Like I'm not really sure about managing team news in a span of 5 minutes, say, because team news generally they come up around 5 to 7 minutes early, so you do not have a lot of time to adjust. So those sheets might come in handy, but what if you end up messing up your transfers? And I don't think you would want to
No,
do
I
that.
mean, you would have a pretty much idea if Sterling is in the matchday squad. That should come out early
Yeah.
then.
Yeah. If you look at the players in the matchday squad for City, it's the squad. For the other players, it's the playing 11. So that is
That's
why
true.
you,
That's
you
true.
you would not want to go for players like Mahrez, because on paper Mahrez is a more explosive player than David Silva, but people are going for David Silva purely because of the safety, that it's his last game and Pep will give him his due minutes.
Another player we missed out is Bernardo Silva. I know he has started games and everything, but he has been really off color this season. So Pep just before the Madrid match, Pep might just want him to get back in form, because last year when City were dominating the league, Bernardo Silva was an essential part of their team, and this season Bernardo Silva, apart from that Watford game, hasn't really done much. So Guardiola's philosophy would be to get all his main players back in shape.
Yep.
So that could be an essential factor.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, so all in all, the consensus does seem to be to captain Man City asset. Definitely, hopefully, if the team news comes out, if it comes out 5, 7, 4 minutes before the deadline, so at least we'll have the time to adjust our captain picks as well. So yeah, boys, it's been fun. I think we should call it a day, and it's been a great season. It's been a real up and down season as well. We at one point we thought the league would never return and it'd be called null and void. Kudos to Liverpool from us United fans on lifting the Premier League. Just I hope that they don't really get cocky about having all the 4 major trophies in one
Couldn't care
year.
less.
But definitely couldn't care less. Next year is gonna be our year most
I mean,
likely.
one interesting fact about our group is none of the top 5 manager in our mini league has got the triple captain right.
Oh yeah,
So,
some
yeah.
played it on
I mean,
Mane and
Akshay, for as great as he has been this entire season, I think his only fumble up was the
But
triple captain.
as a famous guy once said, 5 points is more than 1 point. So I think Anand is good there.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. It's been a pleasure, and we're definitely thinking of creating more videos, more content while the season is at break. Europa League is still left to play. Champions League is again left to play. There's a transfer window that is still yet to open. There are a lot of teams which have had like great seasons, players which have had great seasons, and definitely we'll be looking at players that you might want to start in your next season. Definitely, real huge shout out to a person who we really look up to in the FPL community, Late Riser. Thanks a ton for giving us that shout out. It was a real surprise for all of us, and that has actually made FPL Escapades explode just a little teeny tiny bit. But definitely, this episode is definitely more fun to record, knowing that we'll be able to reach a wider audience, and that's all courtesy Late Riser. Anyone who does not know who he is, please go on Twitter, find him, give him a follow, subscribe to his Twitter. He's someone who's I think is now 37 overall rank, and one of our United brothers as well. So with that, definitely thanks to our listeners and viewers. You are the most important to us. We do this for you, and hopefully we've been able to bring out meaningful content that might have helped you, climb up the rank ladder in FPL. This is a new venture for us as well. We definitely do look and really appreciate any feedback that you can give us. Anand, Akshay, Amit, it's been wonderful talking to you and being a part of this project with you guys. It's been really an emotional ride as well. Akshay, we all hope that you keep your 3-digit overall rank. Anand is somebody who's might go berserk, but I hope that it pays off and you eventually climb up. As always, we have our own Discord community. Please go ahead. The link is in the description. Join us. We watch matches together. We listen to music and talk about football every day. Please give us a follow on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and YouTube and Twitter. We really, really appreciate your support. Guys, it's been a pleasure walking this season and doing all the things that we've done, talking about football and putting out content. It's a new venture in times of COVID. Definitely hope forward to doing many more of these come next season and the break. It's been a real good journey, and that's all from me. And I hope everybody has a great game week 38 plus. May your arrows be green, and definitely onwards and upwards.
Green arrows, guys.
Thank you, boys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you,
Ciao,
boys.
boys.
Take
It's
care.
been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure.
See you next season.
Yeah,
For
next season
FPL.
is not far away. 12th September it's been announced, so not long.
Yeah, definitely counting down days just right after game week 38 plus. Definitely. Thank you. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and thanks a lot, and have a good one.